Hello and welcome back. Welcome to the MCode. Today let's solve max consecutive ones. In this question we have given a binary array nums and we have to return the maximum number of consecutive ones in the array. So if we see the example 1, over here we have given input nums and we have given 1 1 0 1 1 1. So max repeated nums are 3, which is consecutive. That means there is no gap. So the max consecutive ones is 3. And in the explanation we have given the same, the first two digit or the last three digit are consecutive ones, so the maximum number of consecutive ones is 3. So if we see the example 2, in the example 2 we have given 1 0 then 1 1, this is 0, and then we have given 1 1 and again 0 and 1. So the max repeated one with no gap is 2, so the max consecutive ones is 2. Okay, now let's move to the approach part. Over here we have given input nums and we have to calculate the max consecutive ones. So for that let's create the two variable ones count and the max ones count and initialize both of them with 0. And let's iterate the input nums with using I as an index. So at the particular index I, so the count of the one is 1 and max count of the one is 1. So if we move the I, so one count is going to be incremented by 2. So let's increment the ones count with 2 and the max ones count is 2. And now let's increment I. And now we encountered with 0, so the consecutiveness of the ones has been break because there is no one in the row we encountered with 0. If we encountered with 0, we are going to make our ones count is equal to 0 because we are going to count another consecutive one. Okay, let's move the I and increment the ones count. So in that case our ones count is again going to be 1. So let me mark it 1, but it is not greater than the max count, so the max count is going to be still 2. So let's increment the ones count again because we encountered another consecutive one, and let's move the I and increment the ones count. So the ones count is going to be 3, which is greater than max ones count. So let's make the max one count is equal to 3 and return the max one count, which is our answer. Okay, let's move to the coding part. Okay, let's use the same approach. Create the ones count and initialize with 0 and create the max ones count and initialize with 0. So it's max ones count initialize is equal to 0. So let's iterate over the nums for any nums, and if n is equal to 1, then we are going to increment the ones count, and at the same time we have to check if the ones count is greater than the max one count, then we are going to store that particular value in the max ones count. So the ones count plus is equal to 1, and let's store the value of the max ones count, which is going to be the max of max ones count and the ones count. So basically it is store the maximum value of the ones count and in the max ones count, and we are going to return it. So in the else condition, if we encountered with 0, so we are resetting the ones count with 0, and let's return the max ones count. Max ones count. Let me run it. And it accepted. Let me submit it. It's submitted and it's pretty efficient. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.